baseball, not always the best team wins, right? You got to still go out there and get it done.
Hello, everyone. Welcome inside the Red Earth Production Studios for the first edition of Baseball Talk for 2026. We're excited to be here, as always, powered by Game 7 Baseball, game7baseball.com. It's that time of year. Get yourself going. We're heading into it. We got some great stuff coming up with Game 7 Baseball this year. We'll be out at some tournaments. You can go to our website, youthbaseballmidwest.com, check out what tournaments we're going to be in. Sign up, be there. We'll be there for our Saturdays at the park. Always fun. We're doing our interviews, our trivia, our giveaways. We got some fun stuff going on. If you're a 14U team, check out our 14U Invitational, going to be at Warrenton Athletic Complex. We hope to have you there. Look forward to it. It always gives us a chance. We had 28 teams last year. It was a great tournament. Come on out. We're looking forward to having you at the ballpark at Warrenton Athletic Complex. Game 7 Baseball, game7baseball.com. Go there, register your team, get signed up. Be there. Aloha. You can follow Youth Baseball Midwest on X at YBM_cast, on IG and Facebook at Youth Baseball Midwest. We got a new one. We're on the TikTok, whatever that means. I think that's for all the kids. My social manager finally said we got to go to TikTok. So we're now on TikTok. What's the handle, Drew? Do you know the handle? At Youth Baseball Midwest, TikTok. So go follow us there. It's going to be kooky, I guess. I don't know what all the new sayings are for the kids, so I'm going to leave that alone. It's the gray in my beard. There you go. But you can follow us all on our socials. There it is. Folks, today coming on the show on the Prime Sports Midwest call link, we have, as always, some great contributors. The guru, Mr. Kevin Mulder, Prep Baseball. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing really well. Enjoying this weather. Feels like high school baseball season already.
Amen to that. I love it. Hopefully we can keep it up. And joining us from the west side of the state, Staley head coach DeAndre Josenberger. Coach, good to see you.
Good to see you. Happy New Year to you guys.
Happy New Year to you. We got a good one too with the weather. It's perfect. You got some good stuff going on today, Coach. You were saying, right?
Yeah, definitely. We're going outside today. Get a good workout in, enjoy this weather, take advantage of it while we can.
Always good to get the kids on the field as early as possible, right?
Yes, definitely. Gives you an idea of what we need to work on going into this weather.
There you go. Get a little early time. So fantastic. Well, we got also want to share with you folks, we got some new stuff. We hope if you like what we're doing here, subscribe, please. We got all of our podcasts here, including Baseball Talk, what we're doing, but we started something new. You can join the club, join the YBM club. It's bringing exclusive content. We've got some great stuff already dropped on our paywall, behind our paywall, in breaking down our not too early power rankings. We did the GAC already. We did the St. Louis Suburban with Dave Wiggins. We're going to see if we can get Coach Josenberger to help us break down the KC Suburban, and we'll drop that in the club here real soon. And we got some great stuff. We just dropped our first player spotlight, the three amigos. That is Nolan Sissom, Brady Tanner, and Brendan Pyle. It's a fantastic player spotlight because you got three kids that play in the summer together and have been playing baseball together for quite some time. And then they play on one of the biggest rivals in the area in Francis Howell and Fort Zumwalt West. So the dynamics of that, the fun, the friendship, it's a great player spotlight. We did that over at RBC. Dave Wiggins joined us there as he's coached those kids through the summer. It was fantastic. So that is dropped right now on YBM Club. You can join. We got our legacy membership going on, 50% off for the first 100 for the legacy. We got some great stuff coming up. We got some barbershop conversations coming up too, folks. So please support Youth Baseball Midwest. It helps us continue to do what we're doing. Join today. Appreciate it. Guys, we're going to talk about impact pitchers in the KC Suburban Conference today. I think that, we've talked about this. Kevin, you've seen this for a while. We talked about it here not too long ago. KC Suburban has produced the last 5 Class 6 state champions. It's just a gauntlet out there, isn't it?
It is, and to do that, you have to have the horses on the mound, and Coach Rosenberger knows about that. He probably had the best arm in the state last year with Brody Earlbeck, and what a great season he had for him, and he was a real pleasure to watch. And but that Kansas City area has produced a lot of high-end arm talent here over the past few years.
Absolutely. Coach, you've seen it firsthand. You deal with it day in, week out. Talk to us a little bit about the mindset you have to have going out and pitching in that conference.
Well, you've got to have calming presence for one. You're going to run into some things that are going to be tough situations. We just talked about this on Monday about being mentally tough and under control emotionally. And really, we talk about limiting damage, right? Trying to figure out how to limit damage and not give up really big innings, which we didn't do very good last year in the state tournament. But other than that, we did a pretty good job. But I think that's the biggest part is the mental focus. And that's the challenge, I think, for our staff this year. We have some pretty good arms, but taking it to the next level with the mental focus and the preparation and the intent on each pitch, even during off season with bullpens.
Well, let's start right there with a couple of kids that are coming back for you. Malachi Coleman, Kason Willenborg. Talk to us a little bit about these kids' makeup because, I said this before the show, and I'm going to preface this as we go through these things. Youth Baseball Midwest, we're focused on high school baseball and, what does it take to win a conference? What does it take to win a district? We're putting aside, I think, you have to win the district just to even get an opportunity to play for a state championship. So I think that's where it goes to. And I think the mental toughness, as you were talking about there, and what you have to do when talent becomes level playing field, I think it goes to that leadership qualities, who you are as a person. How do you set those things in place? And what do you see in these 2 young men for you this year?
Well, these guys have talent for sure, but
Mm-hmm.
it's taking their game mentally to the next level, right? Being able to command multiple pitches, not letting things blow up on them, controlling their emotions. And I've seen so far this winter and fall during conditioning, they've matured, which is really going to be the key to our season of how these guys, plus 2 other seniors we have, Landon Schreifels, who's pretty mentally tough, and another kid named Marcus Newcomer, with their 4 seniors. These guys have got a lot of talent, arm talent, just mentally being able to stay focused and being intentional about what they do. And if they can do that, I think we've got a chance to be pretty good. The leadership is big. We've been trying to build a little bit more autonomy with those guys. Last year, our staff was built up of some seniors. Really, I know Brody was our ace, but Jake Thomas led a lot of our pitchers' workouts, and he was really cerebral and mental and with prepared, and that carried over into the staff. So that's what we're going to have to build this year because we have some talent. Honestly, I think arm-wise, we're deeper than we were last year with the number of people that can pitch. They're just not as high as level as we had at the top last year. So if all those guys can take a jump mentally, I think we'll be in a pretty good position.
Kevin, and as we're getting into this, you've coached at the collegiate level. You've seen kids coming out of high school and whatnot. What do you think, when you start looking at these kids across the board, and we're going to talk about these, you know, what is it about, leadership qualities that you've seen? And when you're dealing with kids, when you see them, you see them in small pockets here and there, and then you go watch a game. What are the things you're looking for from a pitcher as, in leadership and things of that nature? And what does that, translate for these young men as they continue to grow?
So I think that's an interesting question, and Coach Rosenberg just shined some light on stuff about his team there last year, referencing Jake Thomas, and uh, a phenomenal pitcher and a key piece of that team. And I mentioned Beck earlier. The stuff about the off-season work and leading the pitchers workout, that stuff I would never know or be able to know, or a coach or a fan, casual fan, the stuff that goes on behind the scenes. But what I can tell you about both of those kids is you can tell that the team feeds off of their energy. Earlbeck, for example, is an extremely fiery competitor. I think Coach would agree with that. And to see how the team reacts, I call them tone setters. And that gives the team behind those type of pitchers a lot of confidence to know, hey, we don't have to play perfect. We got Jake out there today, or we got Brody out there today. And that can be very reassuring. And Coach has a couple really talented guys on his staff this year. And if I have my college coaching cap on and I look at a kid like Malachi or a kid like Kaysen, both of those kids have the ability to play college baseball and eventually possibly even professionally. But huge caveat, there has a lot of development that still has to be done with those guys. They don't necessarily have the feel and the compete tool that the other two seniors had last year for them with Earlbeck and Thomas. So I think, the Malachi or Kaysen might be the world's greatest leaders. I don't know, but from a getting out standpoint, being able to pitch in through adversity, through tough situation, a bad call, your shortstop kicks a routine double play, and hey, now you got to be mature enough to just give up one run instead of 3 or 4 or 5 because something went wrong, and that is a huge thing, and honestly a rare commodity for high school pitchers, because they're still young. They're learning the game. The guys that get this figured out are the guys that get to go on and play collegiate baseball and have success in college baseball. So I think that's a huge difference, but between the two things we're talking about here.
Outstanding. I agree. We're going to start, and I want to talk about a young man. We're talking about Platte County, because coming off state championship last year, we know they're losing a piece, but the one young man that kind of stands out, in my opinion, he's going to pitch. We'll talk about one other, but is Brennan McLaughlin. He just also, I think.
Who are you?
Thank you, Kevin. ORU. Coach Sipes. We're going to get a chance to talk with Coach Sipes, and in fact, on the calendar this year, folks, we're going to be at Platte County, and we're going to be at Platte County as they host the Staley Falcons. That's on the calendar this year. We're looking forward to that game. That's going to be a fun one. A little cross-class mogination going on there. I'm looking forward to that one. And get to see some high-level guys out at the ballpark. So looking forward to that matchup. But Coach Sipes says about Brennan he said, first thing he said, he is one heck of a baseball player. But he is a better teammate and person. He's the kind of young man you hope your son grows up to be. He's extremely humble. As his coach, I know that most of the time when he steps on the field, he's automatically the best player. but you would never expect that that with the way Brennan carries himself, his work ethic is one of the best, and he never takes a play off. That's high praise from a coach, Coach Josenberger.
Oh yeah, Brennan's an absolute stud, but he is an awesome kid. I've known him for several years. Of course, when I was at Competitive Edge, he plays there, and I've had the ability to work with him in the cages, and he is a really humble kid, grinder, pretty soft spoken, not very verbal leader. Just goes about his work. Um, he's deep in his faith, and he's just an awesome all around kid, and he's just been really consistent throughout his career and his preparation.
I think that's one of the best things you can say about any athlete, what you just said right there.
It's
Consistent.
about being, consistent. Yeah.
I don't think there's any higher praise. It's because you can see kids go up and down, you have your highs, your lows and whatnot, but consistency, I say this is something I've used in business for years and years. But I believe that consistency breeds success. And if you can master that mentally, if you can be mentally consistent in how you go about your business, I think that translates to that physical focus on a daily basis, because the body follows the mind. So if you can be consistent mentally, that to me is a huge key. And Kevin, that goes to what you were talking about earlier. How many high school kids can really master that?
Yeah, and it's especially tough being a two-way talent like he is. Brian, I know we have these conversations about some players. He is a guy that has a chance to do both in college. Some kids are good at high school hitting, but they're going to be a pitcher, or vice versa. Brennan, he's got a chance to do both at ORU at a very high level, and it'll be interesting to see how that progresses in college. But he is one of the top two-way talents, if not the top two-way talent in the state in his class, I would say.
Oh yeah,
My friend,
I think that's the reason he chose ORU is they're going to give him that opportunity to be able to two-way, and it was important to him to be able to do that. I think he has some other offers to do one or the other, but the reason why ORU seemed to be the best fit is they're going to give him the opportunity to do both. It'll be curious to see how Platte County uses him this year. They have that unique pitching style that they like to implement. They just lost one of their guys that enrolled early at UCF, Brooks Hall. That was one of their top three guys. So we're going to see what they do to replace him, along with Magnuson coming back with those guys. So
yeah, absolutely. And folks, I want to say that's high praise, because Mr. Mulder he's very adamant when he talks about, guys, good high school hitters. That's huge. So you can take that to the bank right there, folks. Coach also talked about Evan, just for a minute. He said it's Evan's second season with us, proving to be a top end rotation kind of guy. And Kevin, when we saw him in the tournament last year, he pitched very well for Platte County.
Yeah, he's an interesting arm. We brought him to the future games with us. Highly projectable kid. One of those lean, athletic body types, 6'4" ish. As he puts on more mass, I expect the velocity to go up, but high pitchability and can do it in game. He pitched both games in the Final Four there en route to their state championship, and finished out both ball games there for Platte. They don't win the state championship without Evan Magnuson last year, so expect him to take another step forward this year. So they certainly have the pieces to make another strong run this year.
Next on the list here, we're staying with our Class 5 theme, is Cameron Taylor, senior, right-handed pitcher. They don't have a lot of as far as I've seen seniors come back, I'm not quite sure. I'm working to do a little more work on Carney. Coach, what do you know about this young man, and what do you see his upside here?
Man, Cameron's probably got the best arm in the state. It all comes back to being able to command and control the baseball um, in the spring. Seems like in the summer he figures it out, but for some reason, the last few springs he's kind of struggled with command. And if he can figure that part of it out, man, the sky's the limit with him. Super athletic kid. I think the challenge for him is also the mental preparation part of it and being able to limit damage and fight through. Strong kid, athletic, arm definitely works. So he's definitely gonna be one of the guys to watch this year in the city, in the whole state.
Do you think that when you're talking what you said there, that struggles in the spring, do you think that's a mental thing, or is he just got to maybe change some of the things he does early on in the process?
I think it's probably a combination of both. I know Cameron well. He played at competitive edge. He wants to do really well, and sometimes I think he puts a little too much pressure on himself. And I think that's what we see in the spring. And I think in the summer he's a little bit more relaxed and he goes out and lets his natural ability take over. So hopefully for him, he can make that transition to just go out and pitch and enjoy the game and let his stuff work for him, work and get people out.
There you go. Kevin, you have this young man ranked at number 5 in the state. So that's pretty high praise right there, just in that.
He will be one of the top pro prospects in the state. They will be guys come in and watch, and coach just nailed exactly what the issues for Cam are. If he's in the zone, he's got one of the best arms in the state. I think we've had him up to 97 before. He will. This is a pro type arm, and he just needs development. He just needs innings and opportunities, and that can be tough to go through. Coach knows this. You're trying to win games in the spring, so it's a fine line between developing your talented pitchers and also winning games. And sometimes that's why things click a little better in the summertime, because the priorities shift a little bit, in my opinion, in summer baseball. And that's not a right or wrong thing at all. High school baseball, you are trying to win baseball games. So, but there's no denying Cam's talent, and he'll be one of the big arms to watch this spring.
I like that conversation right there, Kevin, because it does change the dynamics, because we talk about these things. Winning is important. It's that possible, but within summer, sometimes it isn't necessarily the priority. Although kids want to win, you're still competing. But depending upon what you're dealing with within a pitcher, it may not be the highest priority in that respect for that particular player at that time, right?
Yeah, and I'm not saying that summer teams aren't trying to win. They absolutely are. But if you got a talented pitcher on the mound, you're going to give him a good fair look for the colleges or the pro guys to watch him. So you might not get the bullpen up the first sign of trouble type thing. You're going to get an opportunity to go out and work things out. Also, you play more games. A lot of these are weekend tournaments. You have maybe 3 or 4 games in pool play. You need to get some. It's a little bit more like pro ball in the fact that you can't just pull your starting pitcher out in the first sign of trouble. You have to get some mileage out of each arm to make it through a weekend. Whereas in a high school setting, you might play 2 or 3 games in a week. And if you got one of these pitching staffs like Coach Rosenberger or Francis Howell, I got 10 good arms. I got other guys that can go out there, and I only got 3 games this week, and that's a hook for that guy, and we'll try again next week. Whereas in summer ball, hey, I need to get 5 innings out of you.
Yeah, it's different. Things change. I like it. Next, the last one here, and I think these are the 3 and this is District 8 in Class 5. District 8 is tough because you got Platte County, Smithville, and Kearney here. And these three teams, I think they're going to be vying again. Smithville was very good last year. Brant Cook, young man for Smithville, I think is going to be at the top of the priority list here. He's a right-handed pitcher. Has got some, some opportunity here they got Mason Jones, who will probably pitch for him some, but he looks more as, he's a catcher as well. And I think he's looking at that going to state fair. But I think Brant Cook is the top right arm for this squad. Coach, do you know much about Mr. Cook?
I do. I've heard some rumblings that he's not sure he's actually going to play this year.
Really?
Yeah, so it'll be interesting to watch that. I think the other guy they have is Barrett Iverson, who pitched a lot for them. He's not going to blow you guys up with the radar gun, but he got some pitchability and he's able to get some outs. But it'll be interesting to see what Brant does. I mean, he's a huge piece of their puzzle, and if they lose that, that could put them in a difficult spot. The one other piece I think we're missing in that district from St. Pius is Henry Batonson. He's up to about 91, 92. He's kind of under the radar, late developing kid, can spin it. But, they've got an arm over there that could beat somebody in districts also, like they did last year with the Earwood kid. So you can't leave those Pius guys out. They've got a couple arms over there too that,
we're not going to leave them out. We were
Yeah.
just talking about the KC Suburban Conference is all.
Yeah.
So
Well,
no. We're gonna come back to St. Pius because they will, and we're gonna look at some of the teams because when you get into private schools, I think we're gonna look at all the kind of the private schools. We'll look at Rockhurst. We'll look at I think Summit Christian is gonna be dynamic again over there. St. Michael the Archangel. You got some really good private schools. Even the Class 1 was it Faith Christian Academy, Northland Christian. They got some really good talent over there. So we'll focus in on some of the private schools. I kind of try and keep those separate, kind of like because it's same over here. You have the MCC and the Metro, and you have those. It's kind of their own dynamic.
Yeah,
right?
It is a different dynamic. Thankfully, in baseball, they don't always dominate like they do in other sports.
That's true, right?
We just had that conversation with a couple other coaches, and a lot of states are going to different divisions for private and public school championships. So I'll be curious to watch and see how that develops the next few years.
Brian, I would love to do a show on that topic, but I have said this so many times on this show or just in conversation. In the private school thing, I think has more advantages in sports like basketball and football than it does in baseball. If you look at it, especially with the larger schools and private schools, at the small school levels, a little bit different. But I think the large public schools are the ones with the better advantage if I had to choose. And I think if you just look at the past state champions, that clearly bears that out. It's not even, the proof's right there. So. Right. It is a sensitive conversation for sure. But I think if we're being honest about or objective about it, there are some advantages, but man, there are some disadvantages as well.
We're going to do that. So stay tuned, folks. We're going to get into some topics here with this because I think there's some interesting stuff. We got the coaches clinics coming up. We're going to be there. I'm looking forward to that. And just trying to get conversations with coaches about different topics and things. That's one of the reasons why I want to go there. I want to see what's going on, around the state, topics that coaches are, what's on their minds. What do we need to discuss? What can we bring to the forefront? Because that's what, we want to discuss. And I think that's a great point that Kevin brought up, and Coach, I did not know that's a thought process with the different.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I was at the National High School Convention in December, and I was talking to several of the coaches in different states, and they were saying that it's completely separate. Like they play public schools and the private schools play each other. So let's see.
Wow. Wow.
And I will also jump in and say it is different state to state. There are some states that it might make more sense for than other states as well. But a topic for another
Yeah,
day.
maybe like in Illinois or something.
Mhm.
I think it's probably mostly the southern states, honestly, in
It is.
baseball, and the West Coast
It's the,
state. Yeah, the southern states that it
it's like
makes
the Californias and the Texas, Florida. That's where
warm
it's
weather.
really different. Yeah.
Oh man. All right. Well, we'll get back to that subject. A team that I think could be us. They were there last year. I was kind of surprised they lost when they did in the tournament, or how they did actually. They had you down pretty good, Coach.
Oh, you talking about Park Hill?
I am talking about Park Hill.
Never,
I was
never a doubt, man.
never a doubt. That was a wild. I'm watching this on Game Changer. I'm watching this score, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this game was crazy. But they've got a couple of kids coming back. Right-handed pitcher Sam Kendrick, Bryson Augustine, I believe is I would imagine Augustine. How it's
Yeah.
they're going to be right there again. They're going to be a tough out.
Oh yeah, of course. Well, a little caveat to that game is Bryson had got ejected in the game for arguing balls and strikes, and he was supposed to close that game out. Which could, if he would have been available, it could have been a different outcome for us. So he's definitely a good arm, going to sit high eights, low nines, big body guy. I heard he's been working pretty hard in the weight room to change his body, slim up, give him a little bit more longevity and stuff on the mound.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, they've got the other two guys with Spencer Beltram and Mo State, and then the lefty that they've got that's been, I think this is their third year on varsity. They started pitching as freshmen. So those guys definitely have enough arms to be able to win a district for sure, 100%.
And
then,
go ahead, Coach.
And then they've also got a kid that pitches a lot for them, Kalen Bradford, that pitches, plays center field for those guys. So they're definitely deep on the mound.
So, but right there, I kind of hopefully, I'm sure, Coach Melody, he wants to see a little bit more maturity there, not getting tossed out, arguing balls and strikes. In a situation like that, in a big game, that's a tough situation, and that's all you want your kids to learn from, correct?
Yeah, I think it all factors in. I mean, we talked about that. We talk
Mm-hmm.
about that all the time. How keeping your composure and a situation like that could have cost them the district championship. Honestly,
Yeah. And Coach Melody, he talked about Anthony as he's one of their top arms. High 80s fastball, touches 90 if he needs to. Throws a changeup. He prefers to work out of the bullpen, and that kind of goes to what you were saying.
are we talking Park Hill or Lee Summit?
Oh, I was talking Park Hill. I'm sorry, I went too far.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My fault. I got ahead of myself. Yeah. Sorry. Got ahead of myself. I didn't have my glasses on when I'm looking at my notes. Now I do. So, no, but Coach Davis from Park Hill sent us some information about Bryson. He said he's going to be expected to eat a lot of innings for us this year. He sits in the upper 80s and commands 3+ pitches. I love that. He said Sam did not pitch any varsity innings for him last year, but had a great summer on the mound. So we will get him out there early in the season and see how he responds. We have a really deep pitching staff returning from last year, so we'll need to take advantage of his opportunities early. He's a great worker and teammate for sure. Love to hear that about him. Appreciate Coach Davis. Kevin, you've seen these kids, I'm sure, in the off season and whatnot. Your thoughts on Park Hill?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing these guys in the coming month or so. But Spencer Beltram's one of my favorite young arms in the state. Highly projectable 6'5" guy with interesting metrics. He was also down at the Future Games, and Missouri State pounced on them. So looking forward to tracking his development, but there is a plethora of arms at Park Hill, as Coach just kind of highlighted.
It'll be interesting to see. Go ahead,
Go ahead.
Coach.
No, you go ahead.
It'll be interesting to see, the leadership qualities, the seniors on this team. Can they take that next step? Because, my goodness, District 8 is just so brutal. And you probably got 5 teams in there that could win that district.
Oh, 100%. Going back to Spencer real quick, I know he's up to about 220 now, 6'5", 220. His dad, I've got crazy connections with these kids. I started coaching Spencer when he was 9 years old, so I've known him for a really long time. And his dad and I do a Bible study together, so I get updates on him pretty regularly. But he's 6'5", 220 now.
Wow.
So he's put on a good 15, 20 pounds in the past year. And that's, Brian, that's why you look at these kids, when they're 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", and they're rail thin and they're throwing in the low 80s, and you're like, well, over the next 18 months or 2 years, this is kind of what happens to guys that look like that more often than not. And Spencer's certainly on that track.
Wow. I love that. And the foundations are there. You're looking for, those kids, that leadership qualities and whatnot. And with families and foundations, you get an inside look at that stuff, Coach. And I think this is what translates to the ball field.
Oh, 100%. I think as a coach, having insight on players and talking to them and being vulnerable and having them share their vulnerabilities is extremely important, because a lot of stuff that we do in the winter when it comes to conditioning is about team bonding and mental toughness. It's really not about the physical gains so much. I mean, of course, we're getting physical gains, but who's willing to show up at 6 a.m. and compete with their teammates? And one of the things we're talking about right now, as we move into transition, is the difference between friends and teammates and the accountability that it takes in those different types of things. So I think it's extremely important. And that's the one thing that I think people miss out all the time is the camaraderie and the bond that players have. And that's what our team had last year. Of course, we had a lot of talent, but those guys just had so much faith and belief in each other that they just refused to lose. And that is not always something that people can see.
Agreed. And that's I love these conversations for that reason, and we start talking about these kids, because I think this is what it takes to win, to get through that, to get an opportunity to win a state championship. That's all you want is an opportunity, but I think that is talent. Of course, I understand, high school can be different. Sometimes you can get on a run, but when you start talking about Class 6 baseball and you start talking about the level of play and the talent level that are on these teams, when it starts getting into that playing field and you start getting that, the field starts narrowing, talent kind of levels out, and it's something else that's got to take over. Right, Kevin?
Brian, I was just about to jump in and say, we've been down to the state championship for the past every year since
5
COVID,
years.
right?
Yeah.
I have never once at the Class 6 level sat there and thought any of the Final Four teams, man, this team just got lucky to get here. Every one of those 4 teams is super talented and welcome. There's no question in Missouri, you don't make it that far unless you have some serious horses on that club.
Exactly. It's just it's the talent level.
That's not to say that there isn't a big upset in districts or something like that. That stuff happens, but to make it to that far, it's more than luck at that point.
But then we're looking at this, and this is why I'm talking about leadership quality. When you talk about these teams, you have to have that leadership quality, and that doesn't mean that you won't lose a game by a run and you just tip your cap to the other team. But that's where I'm saying the talent across 5, you got 5, 6 teams. You look at District 1 in this state in Class 6, and you've probably got 6 teams in that first round that can beat you, that can win a game. They've got arm talent that can win a baseball game. And you go even down to Melville, and then you got Seckman, you got Oakville, you got Jackson, you got Lindbergh. You just look at the quality of talent that are on these teams, and you get in round one. If you're not prepared, you're going to get beat. You got to have the guys mentally prepared to play at a high level. You look at District 3, District 4, it doesn't matter. Really, the district across the board in this state, if you go into round one in Class 6 and you're not prepared mentally, you can lose. You can lose because you're going to face, we saw that last year, Francis Howell gets the 1 seed and they got to face Cam Lohman. If you're not mentally prepared to face that arm, you can lose a baseball game real fast. It's just the reality of what we're dealing, and that's why I think this is so important. And you got Lee Summit. Now we're at Lee Summit. Coach Melody was talking about Mr. Velasquez. Sorry about that, Coach. And I appreciate these coaches sending us this information. It's so fantastic. I appreciate the relationships that we're developing with these coaches. They're fantastic. They put in so much work. And as Coach Josenberger can tell you, it's a lot of work to coach a high school baseball team.
Yeah. You're ready to go to work here in a couple hours.
There you go. Exactly. This Lee Summit squad, they've been there, Coach. They're talented again, and they're a team to be reckoned with as well. And I think this young man is one of the kids there, and Coach Melody talked really highly about him.
Yeah, I think we saw him 2 out of 3 times last year. He came out of the bullpen. I think he was sitting mid upper 8s. I think he's going to take probably a big jump. Those guys are they got a lot of talent out there at Lee Summit, man. Every game that we had with those guys were close last year, and I expect it to be the same this year.
Yeah. Anthony Velasquez, Kevin, what do you know about him?
Yeah, kind of like what Coach says. Mid to upper 80s arm. We've had him up to 91. Looking forward to seeing him with another offseason under his belt. And I'm just kind of laughing when Coach said he's seen him 2 out of the 3 times. It's like, that's the life of being at Staley. Everyone's going to line you up and they got you circled, right, Coach? Which is great, too, at the same time, because your kids are going to be prepared and you're always going to get challenged. But you take a game off, someone's ready to pop you, right?
And as Coach Melody alluded to, he's high 80s and touching 90s, and out of that bullpen, that's a different mindset, and that's the thing here. He prefers to come out of the bullpen, and he also plays third base and is a middle of the order hitter for these guys. You're talking about a mentally tough kid, Kevin. When you're talking about, when you're looking at high school kids that prefer to come out of the bullpen, that's a different mindset completely, isn't it?
A little bit, I would say. I would say at the high school level, there can be a variety of reasons. It could be mindset. It could be being a two-way positional player. It could be a stamina thing where he's best in for 30 to 40 pitches. So there could be a lot of different factors involved in that, I would say. You typically see most of the quality arms in the starting roles, but then would come out of the bullpen as well. I feel like it's kind of college when guys kind of start to form their true identities as pitchers, and whether they're starters, relievers, etc. Often at the high school level, one dominant pitch will be enough. That changes as you move up the ladder. But like I said, teams use guys in a variety of different roles for many different reasons.
We got a kid this year that we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with, but he always wants the ball. So coming out of the bullpen for him, he's going to get to touch the baseball a lot more often than he would as a starter once a week. So he may be in relief, which he's quality enough to be a starter, but he'll pitch every day, right? And so a lot of that has to do with his ability to be able to bounce back and also be able to be prepared to pitch more than one time a week. I think that's the mental part of it is huge when it comes to kids' ability to be able to come out of the bullpen or be a starter, projected a starter.
Yeah, and I said that, I don't know if you heard, because Coach Meldy said Anthony prefers to work out of the bullpen. So that's his preference. And so evidently they've had that conversation. So, and maybe because he likes to hit too, I mean, as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, that could be it.
So, but, and they do use him as a spot starter, he said, but when you talk about a kid, as you said, wants the ball, you give him more opportunity to see the mound, you see what he can do. And then it is a matter of how much can his arm take in that respect. So I think it's going to be interesting. We've got, moving down here. I have talked with Coach Bradshaw a little bit. Liberty North is stacked. They're loaded. There is the young man, right-handed pitcher, Braden Davidson. Coach Bradshaw sent us some information about Braden. He talked about him in this fashion: is their most experienced pitcher returning to the program this year. His innings on the mound make him comfortable with the ball in his hand. He works quickly, and the team loves it. I love that part. He's a fighter and does not like to give in when he's in the game. He's grown into a great leader over the last 2 years. He's awesome with our younger pitchers. I love that about that. And staying with, I'm going to say this again. He's awesome with the younger pitchers about staying with the plan and showing them that it works. While Braden is not pitching, he is our energy guy in the dugout. He's loud and proud of his teammates. I love that. That's great stuff from Coach Bradshaw about right-handed pitcher Braden Davidson that stood out when I'm looking. I know they've got guys that probably work and pitch and whatnot, but this young man kind of stood out there a little bit. Kevin, have you seen Mr. Davidson?
Yes. Good looking kid, kind of an athletic 6'1", 180-ish, with an upper 80s fastball, heading to Bradley University. I did not see them last spring, or I did not see him pitch last spring, but I know he's a super talented guy. He came to one of our big events towards the end of the summer and was upper 80s and got scooped up by Bradley, but kind of another athletic, projectable arm.
And Coach, you get to see Liberty North a lot, and this year, I mean, they seem to be back in that mix. I mean, they're going to be a tough out. I think they look like maybe one of the favorites to win that district.
Yeah, for sure. We actually faced Braden twice last year, the 2 times we played him. And he's a bulldog. He's super competitive, takes his craft very seriously, works really hard. Got a ton of upside, when he puts on a little bit more. He's got a small frame, thin frame, but when he starts to put on, I think that Velo's going to jump. He has a pitch ability, good breaking ball, great feel. He's definitely going to lead that team when it comes to it. And he always wants the ball. He doesn't care who it's against. Like I said, with the 2 times we played him, he was on the bump for him.
There it is. And just up and down that roster, you look at the seniors they have, the leadership they have. I think this team is going to be formidable this year, Liberty North. So good luck. Also, we talk about Liberty. You got a couple of kids coming back here, Kevin. You got them pretty good. Logan Sutton, Hank Blackburn, These two young men look like they're going to be anchoring this pitching staff this year. What do you know about those guys for Liberty?
Well,
Jays?
first off, Logan Sutton, one of the better positional players in the state, signed at St. Louis University to be a positional player, infielder. And did he win Conference Player of the Year last year, Coach? Or did
He did. He did in their division.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So, yeah, really good guy there. And then with Hank, also a two-way guy and really good athlete all the way around. One of those guys that's a good runner, good thrower, good at pretty much all of it. Just a well-rounded athlete. I think I like him most on the mound, and he signed with Eastern Michigan, and I believe he will be a PO over there.
Very good.
Yeah.
Coach?
Yeah, they've got a couple other guys. They've got lefty Caden Postoke that's committed to either State Fair or Crowder. I'm not sure which one. And then they've got Grady Coppinger, who's a really good athlete, football player. I think he just committed to go play football. So it'll be interesting to see if he's there this spring or not. You never know with those football commits if they're going to be there. But super athletic kid, plays outfield. Liberty's always Bragg's going to figure out something when it comes to those arms and make it competitive.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah, they do.
It's interesting. Liberty's always there. They've always had those arms, the leadership qualities. I really like Coach Bragg. We've had a couple of conversations with him, and he just seems to get his guys ready to play.
Yeah, I'm not sure that there's a coach in the state that gets more out of his guys every year than Coach Bragg.
There you go. I like it. We're heading down to Ray-Pac, and we reached out to Coach Lurch, and we were talking about Lucas LaRue, but he did let us know that he may not be playing this year. I don't know. We're going to find out, but he did share some insights with a young man who is a sophomore, Colby, and I'm going to butcher this name because it's spelled EIGSTI. And I'm just going to say Igsty. I don't know. So I'm sorry.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I'm sorry. We're just calling him Colby. But he said he's another sophomore that is going to contribute major for us. He's talked about Brock Barbarick as another sophomore. He's turned into their number one after Carver went down. Ended up being an all-district guy as a freshman. Potential to be a strong leader for them moving forward. And then they talked about Colby. He ended up taking over second base as a freshman, and he's going to battle for the shortstop position. He plays, made it to AAA with the Royals. And he said he's an elite baseball player that is well beyond his years mentally. So those two guys right there, I don't know much about them. I don't know what you guys know in that respect. Kevin, we'll start over there with you. You're nodding your head like,
yeah, I know Colby's a good player. He's one of those young guys. He's still developing physically, a little bit undersized. And when I say undersized, for his age, he's right where he should be. He's just not one of the early bloomer type guys. So he's a 2028, but very high baseball IQ. This kid's just a ball player, middle of the diamond player. I'm sure he's a shortstop. It sounds like he played second base last year. That kind of typically happens with young guys, and then they'll move over. But he's a dynamic player, and it's going to be a fun one to watch. It'll be interesting to see how he develops physically and where that takes his game.
Coach?
Yeah, super scrappy kid. I remember playing against him. Never seen him on the bump, but super competitive at the plate. You can just tell this kid's just a dirtbag baseball guy, and sounds like they're going to be relying on him a little bit more on the mound, which I didn't even know that he pitched. But Wouldn't surprise me.
I
As
don't,
competitive
I
as
don't, I
he
don't
is.
think he does. I don't think he
Okay.
pitches. I think coach just, these were a couple of names that he threw out there because the other young man was not present. So there you go.
Yeah.
So I think he's just playing shortstop for him. I don't know if he'll pitch or not. Do you think he may
Yeah.
pitch, Kevin?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm not saying he won't throw 10 innings out of the bullpen for him. I don't think he's a pitcher.
Gotcha. Um, so it looks like they've got their number one in the sophomore. So they're going to be young. Looks like Rapek's going to be young, maybe a year or so away from, really taking that next step. Sometimes it takes a little bit. You get those young kids. It just depends. Sometimes it works, but that development process, and you've got some kids here that look like they have the right attitude, coach, and that's what you're looking for in these sophomores.
Yeah, just want to see those guys. The biggest thing is coming in this year. Hopefully, their bodies have improved, right? And they're a little more physical. And once they have the ability and the skills and the physicality takes over, start to see a lot of growth out of those guys. And that's really what I look for out of our freshman and sophomore group is what do they look like physically? Have they changed? And if they've already got a good skill set, it just takes them to the next level.
Kevin, you've talked about that, and I think that's one of the first things that you've always that you've said to me that I think is just something I never thought about, but just the physicality of baseball at the varsity level is just different.
Yeah, in coaches hit, these kids will get by, or not even get by. They get to a certain point on skill, and then it becomes, hey, a lot of guys are very skilled, and then it becomes who's the strongest, and it's a combination of the two. Because if you are highly skilled but aren't strong enough, that's not going to work. Certainly, if you're strong and not skilled, that's not good either. But the commitment, and usually it's after their freshman year, they see what those varsity kids look like, and they square a ball up, and kid runs it down. They start to figure out, okay, I got to get stronger to be able to play this game at a certain level. And I'll say it again. I always say they call it boys high school baseball and men's college baseball for a reason. If you want to play at the highest level these days, whether it's pro ball, college baseball, high-end varsity baseball, you have to have some physicality to you at this point in time.
There you go. I love it. That's some impact players here for us. I think it's going to be fun to watch. Impact players are guys that I think have that mentality to take their game to another level, not just because they've reached that and they understand what it takes to play at that level. So, guys, I appreciate the dropping the knowledge. That was a lot of fun.
You forgot the Blue Springs South?
Oh,
You can't forget those guys.
no.
They got the two of the best arms at the
Hang on
state.
just a second. Stay with us.
We're talking about
Coach,
Graydon Suferling for a moment.
I am
Good.
going to we're going to drop. We already did this too. I had a conversation. I really enjoyed talking with Graydon Suferling. We've got a player spotlight dropping with him in a few weeks. It'll be on the YBM club. Graydon Suferling, this kid has it. He's got it all. He's that type of kid. We saw him in the state championships. He pitched so well for them, played so well for, and I think he's going to be dynamic. I think this is why Blue Springs South has a opportunity to win it all again. I mean, this kid is for real. Kevin?
Graydon's an interesting story. He's relatively new to pitching, or at least emphasizing pitching. 2 years ago, I knew who he was, but I would have told you he was a nice high school outfielder, not like a super, a kid that's on track to maybe play at a small school, or a JC, but he has one of the best arms in the state. got on the mound, and now he's topping out in the mid 90s. He came down to the Senior Future Games last year, topped out at, I believe, 95. Is now committed to Wake Forest University, or signed with Wake Forest. So obviously a smart kid as well, and one of the electric arms in the state, low to up to mid 90s, and a really good slider. Can throw this, and you don't see this often at the high school level, but slider that can get into the low 80s, which is really hard slider.
Coach, you faced him last year.
Too many times. Too many times.
There you go.
I think he came in and got us twice. Got us in relief, but he's super competitive kids, and it's going to be interesting to see what they can do for them at Wake Forest with one of the best pitching labs in the country down there. His sky's the limit for him. But the other kid is Wyatt Taylor, the lefty. He can flat out pitch. Right, he has command, the pitchability. He's tough. With those two guys at the top of their rotation, they definitely have a chance to get back to the state tournament and possibly win the state tournament.
Yeah, because they graduated Ashton Nance last year, but when you can bring back these kind of dynamic arms, wow, that it just reload.
And they're anchored in there with Cooper Callahan at shortstop, and it's a good recipe there.
Exactly. So, and I'm sorry, Graydon. I didn't want to forget you, buddy. Sometimes I get, I didn't finish my notes. I got to there looking down. Thank you, Coach.
Yeah, I can't forget about him. I got to see him.
You're game planning already, aren't you?
Yeah, already. Yeah.
And that's the thing, you look at some of these pitchers. It is a game plan. You have to have guys that understand an approach at the plate when you're facing this caliber of pitcher. You're 1 through 9. You got to develop an understanding of how you want to approach trying to score 1, 2, if you can get 3 runs.
Yeah, well, the thing about it is what we talk to our guys about is being having super competitive ABs and running up pitch counts and trying to get these guys out of the game and see what they got in the back end of the bullpen to see if that can hold us. Because you're just not going to go out and barrel these guys and think you're going to put up, tons of runs on them and a bunch of hits. It's really about having competitive ABs, making them waste pitches, commanding the zone. Really, it's what our approach is. And, we start that from day one with the guys that we face in our conference and in our district. And that's really how you have a chance to be able to beat these guys consistently, is running up, elevating pitch counts and trying to get them out of the ball game and see what they got on the backside.
There you go. I love it. So now, thank you, guys. I love it. I really like. I'm just really excited about the KC Suburban, the conference up and down. There's so many good teams, and we'll be talking more about it. We will get into some of the private schools over there, some of the smaller private schools. Kevin, we've talked about that. With some of those guys over there. I think Summit Christian is probably one of the top. We had them early as number 2 team right now, and are not too early for power rankings. With Summit Christian there, along with Logan Rogersville, I think Class 4 is so much fun, and there's so many good schools over there that way. Even in the KC Suburban, there's some good Class 4 schools down that way. So we'll be talking some more about that as well. So I appreciate the knowledge, guys. Absolutely. So, folks, thanks for tuning in. If you got a comment, please drop it. If you like what we're doing, subscribe. It helps the algorithm. If you hit the like button, helps the algorithm. Comment below anything you have to say. We watch, we monitor those things. we check it out. So we appreciate you being here, and hope you enjoyed it. Again, check out the YBM Club, become a Legacy member, 50% off. We appreciate it. We need the support. We hope you will think about doing that. Until next time, thanks for watching. Have a great day in the Lord. All you pitchers, Kevin, give it to them.
Keep throwing strikes.
There you go. All you hitters, Coach, what do you want your hitters to do?
Just compete.
I like it. There you go. And we'll see you all next time.